Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and good evening from Buffalo. Whenever you think about eating junk food, you've just had a full meal and then you're interested in junk food, do you eat that junk food publicly, or do you find that junk food and kind of eat it where no one else can see you? Right? Both. Everyone's thinking both right now. We think that people aren't watching us, and physically that may be true, but metaphysically that is not true. I want to tell all of you about someone who's watching all of us right now. His name is Chitragupta. How many of you have heard of Chitragupta before, by a show of hands? Okay, have you met Chitragupta before? He knows you if you don't know him. Gupta means secret, hiding, like guha, like a cave. And Chitra means photograph, picture, the one who records. So Chitragupta is the messenger, the spy of Dharmaraja. Dharmaraja is the lord of death. He is the lord of responsibility. And Chitragupta is always recording what we're thinking, what we're speaking, what we're acting. So the whole idea of being a closet personality, that may work in a secular way, but in a sacred way, that's not possible. We are being watched. Now, why am I bringing this up? We've taken a pause for 2 weeks. November 17th, I was unable to connect with all of you because of the Toronto Wi-Fi. And last Thursday, we had our Thanksgiving holiday. So what I'm trying to ask all of you is, out of sight, out of mind? We haven't had class for 2 weeks. How have the last 2 weeks been for you in thinking and speaking and in acting? Only you will know if you're living by that very shallow lifestyle, shallow vision of out of sight, out of mind, or if you're living in a solid way, whereas even if it's not in sight, it's still in mind. And if I can present this differently, people you love, purposes you love, even if they're not in sight, they're still in mind, right? So I'm actually asking you, do you love Vedanta? Do you love self-development? Do you love satsang? My vision for this course, I'll tell you some of the background to this. Last week, or 2 weeks actually, we were unable to have our class because of Trinidad. So I took a group of young adults to Trinidad for a yatra. This yatra is an event, just like a camp or a retreat. It is an event. And the purpose of that event is for people to be part of a study group. The study group is the movement. The event has a start and a finish time. The movement has a start time, but there's no finish time. So far, so good? And the purpose of the study group, the purpose of the movement is to evolve to development, which is your own sadhana, your own reading, writing, reflection, practice, etc. So if you're part of this study group, but in the last 2 weeks there was no self-development, there was no reading, writing, reflection, then the purpose of this movement is not being fulfilled. So I wanted you to know about my vision of this course, of the whole Vichara Gurukula, is events to movements to development. Okay. We go back to what we studied a few weeks ago. Have you all seen images of Vitthala Bhagwan? Okay, show me how Vitthala stands. Show me how Vitthala stands. Okay. Vitthala is always standing with his hands on his waist. Okay. Why? Why does Vitthala Bhagwan stand with his hands on his waist? Because usually Bhagwan has his or her hand like this, or they're holding some sort of article. But here's Bhagwan like with attitude, hands on his waist saying, hey, what's up? The reason why Vitthala has his hands on his waist like this, usually Vittala's on one side of a river or a body of water, and you and I are on the other side. And Bhagwan's hands are on his waist to show us that this water is only waist deep. That you should just come. Don't be afraid. Try. So many of the shlokas that we've studied from 4 all the way till 10 have really been presenting the hollowness of what we're doing. Whether it's schooling or working or being with family, we collectively label this as Maya. When you hear such messages, it is not to be disinterested in schooling or working or family. It's not to be belligerent with all of this. Instead of focusing on the hollowness, what we should do is be excited that there is that which is solid. Be excited that there's a possibility of a absolute reality. And though I may not experience it now, if all of this is relative, there has to be an absolute reality. That's why Bhagwan stands like this, saying, yes, go through the water, but know that I'm here. It's not that you reject that water, that you hate that water. You go through the water, keeping your vision on Bhagwan, keeping your vision on yourself. Everyone's following me? Because too many people have this hatred for life. It's not a hatred for life. That means we've not tuned into the vision of Vedanta. It is to have a love for life that is absolute. And with that love for life, we know how to live in the relative. We laugh, we enjoy. We don't take this too seriously. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We continue with a similar shloka, shloka 11. Before we get into this, I want to tell you a story. One day, 2 friends, who are also seekers, sat down underneath trees and went into contemplation. And minutes turned into hours, turned into days and weeks and months and years and decades. They were in contemplation. One day, a wise person happened to be walking past these 2 friends who were under separate trees. And these contemplators could feel the presence of this wise person. And so they opened their eyes. And they saw this wise person. And both of them asked the same question when they saw this wise person, because that's what you do when you're with wise people. You ask them questions. So one of these friends asked, how many more lifetimes until I will be free, until I'll be wise like you? And that wise person closed his eyes and then shared with that first questioner, as many leaves are on this tree, that's how many lifetimes it will take you to be free. And that person's face dropped. That person literally collapsed and out of frustration kicked that tree and said, I'm done, and left. Now the other friend asked the same question. How many lifetimes until I'm free? And that wise person gave the same answer. As many leaves are on this tree, they're similar trees, that's how many lifetimes it will take to be free. And when he heard that, his face lit up. He started dancing temporarily, and then he sat down and started contemplating again. That's it? This many lives? And he continued. Both had the exact same context, but very different content. One is rejecting this relative reality. One is embracing the relative reality. By rejecting the relative reality, you also reject the absolute reality. Because how are you going to get to the absolute unless you go through the relative? Yes? I want us to be clear about how we're studying these shlokas. Okay. I'm on shloka 11. Please repeat after me. Ma kuru dhana jana yauvana garvam harati nimeshat kala sarvam Mayamayam idam akhilam buddhva Brahmapadam tvam pravisha viditva Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. What does Acharya Shankara share here? Very simple Sanskrit words. Ma, like we chant Ma vidvishavahai. Ma here means no. Kuru, do. So do not. Do not what? Dhana. Dhana means wealth. Jana, people. Yauvana or yuva means young age or youth. And then the most important word in this line is garvam. What does garva mean? Pride, arrogance, conceit, being egotistical. Acharya Shankara is saying here is, do not be arrogant about pleasure, possession, or position. It's remarkable how this message comes up again and again and again. And the way that Sri Ramakrishna has shared this, he says people talk about three subjects in their typical conversation. Kamini, Kanchana, and Kirti. Kamini means pleasure. Kanchana means gold or wealth or possessions. And Kirti, fame or position. Isn't it true? Tomorrow when you go to work, when you go to school, when you run your errands, try to listen, really listen to what people are talking about. Try to listen, really listen to what you're talking about. One of the raws that I've given in the past, and I'm not giving this to you, but if you feel like doing it, go for it. Go to a grocery store, some shopping area, and I want you to eavesdrop on three conversations. So imagine you're on one side of the aisle and you push some things and then you listen to the person on the other side of the aisle, like a movie. But please do not get caught and definitely don't mention my name. in this reflection adventure, okay? This you've chosen to do by yourself. If we think deeply, there is no space for arrogance. There is no time for arrogance. Anyone who read the last Evachara, I had written that the last step when one performs puja is called Atma Nivedanam. In a puja, we offer so many materials. We offer rice, flowers, water, dishes, food, etc., etc., etc. But who created all of that? Did you create the rice? And if you say yes, then did you create the soil? If you say yes, did you create the rain? If you say yes, did you create the sun? Finally, you have to say no. Correct? That this has been created by a creator who's beyond you and I. So how is there any room for arrogance that I am the doer, I am the deserver? Yesterday, Sheila and I went for an ultrasound, and yesterday we confirmed that Sheila is 3 months pregnant. And so I got to see, and I was at the ultrasound from 2 weeks prior to that, I got to see our baby, who was 1.5 centimeters long, I suppose. I don't know how to depict that. 1.5 centimeters is half of my baby finger. And now the baby is 4.5 centimeters. So in 2 weeks, the baby tripled its size. How? I can't say I did it. I deserve this. Sheila can't say I did it. She deserves it. Correct? This is just Bhagwan's grace, kripa, Bhagwan's leela, Bhagwan's play. There is no room for arrogance. There is only room for gratitude. How this happens, how cells, they're just cells. Yesterday in the ultrasound, that baby was moving so much. I was concerned the baby's going to be too rajasic. That's coming from Sheila. The sattvic part's coming is coming from me. How? It's just Bhagwan. There's no ahankara there's no time or space for ahankara. And Bhagwan continues. If you have this arrogance, if you have this garva, harati, which means to steal, to loot away, nimeshat, in a moment, unmisha, nimisha means to blink, in how long it takes to blink, which is faster than a moment. Kala, this time, sarvam, will take. In other words, if we do have arrogance, everything we're arrogant about can be taken from us in the blink of an eye. We've all read that poetically, we've all understood that intellectually, but do we actually believe that this will happen? I've shared this with you a few times. When you go to a mandir, what do you see around Bhagwan? What is that called? Pradakshina is what you do around Bhagwan. Similar, Prabhavali. Prabhavali, which means rows and rows of glories. That's what it literally means. And in the top of a Prabhavali, what do you see? A very scary face, like a monster that's in this Prabhavali. That monster actually represents Kalaha. Kalaha here means time. And the idea is that everything outside of those rows of glories is subject to being lost in a blink of an eye. But everything inside that Prabhavali is beyond time. Another way to look at this, you've sometimes seen Bhagwan Shiva dancing as Nataraja, correct? And Nataraja is always standing on someone. Who is he standing on? Again, Kala. He's standing on time. He's not subject to time. This is why it's called a cosmic dance. That's a really weird interpretation, cosmic dance. But the point is that it's not physical, it's metaphysical. I'm sure You've all met people in your lives who were lions in their pleasure, in their possessions, in their position. But some change happens in their life and they just become so frail and so lost. I know so many people like this where they're lions, nothing can stop them. They are the alpha personality, and then someone falls ill in their family and all they do is cry. It's such a point of learning to meet such people. I'm often reminded of, did you all watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Yeah. When it used to be on TV, everyone used to watch that. That was a very Indian family show, I felt. I felt like all Indian families could appreciate Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know what other show Indian families could appreciate? Three's Company. Did you ever watch Three's Company? Yeah. We always used to watch Three's Company as a family. You know the episodes in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will would cry? Whether Carlton was on speed or Will's father comes back or whatever it is. And when you see him cry, you can't help but also feel very emotional because he's that alpha personality. I've seen this happen with so many people in my own lifetime, my own friends and family, where you're just stunned how Harati Nimeshat Kala Sarvam. Those 3 P's mean nothing. Pleasure, possessions, position. What is all of this? Maya, Mayam. This word Mayam you've heard before. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Chinmaya. That word Maya means filled with. What is all this filled with? Filled with Maya. And I'll explain more. Idam. Idam means this. Akilam. All of this. Buddhva. You should know this. You should know that this, all of this, is filled by Maya. Okay, looking at these words more closely. What does Maya mean? There's many definitions of Maya. I'll pick on 2 of them. Definitions of Maya. Illusion. That which is not there. Very good. Okay. Acharya Shankara says, Maya is simply a play of names and forms. That's what Maya is. Okay, so what's this called? Foam. And the form is this rectangle, correct? But really, if you break it down more, it's just parts of the earth, plastic, ore, etc. If you break it down more, it's just existence. It's just satta. Name? Book. In Hindi, what is this called? In Odisha, what's this called? In Odia? Right? So many different names for the same book. And this form, right now it's in decent condition, but if I keep, bending it, then the form can change. If I keep ripping the pages, the form can change. But does the existence change if you call it by different names? Does the satta change if you start manipulating the forms? All of this is simply a play of forms and names. And if you can, apply it to yourself also. For all of the people who are married, what does your spouse call you? Positively. Positively. Right? Rarely does a spouse call another spouse by their first name. And if they do, it's only in public. Otherwise, there's a whole series of names. Sometimes they're not just they're not names, they're just noises, right? And that communication happens. So what name are you? And what form? For many of you who started with the Fear Face It course, that was a long time ago. Then we finished self-unfoldment. Now we're going through Moha Mudgara. Which form are you? Everyone here has more wrinkles, more, more white hair, and all, and on and on and on. But now comes the second definition of Maya. Ma, again, means not. Yaha means is. Maya means is not. So this game of names and forms is happening, and then Acharya Shankara says not. That there are no names and forms. There's only Sat. There's only Chit. There's only Ananda. Just because you call it this name and form doesn't mean that it's not existence. Buddhwa. Know this. This word Buddhwa is where the name Buddha comes from. It is a Sanskrit word. Buddhwa means the one who knows. And finally, Acharya Shankara says here, Brahmapadam, that state of infinitude, Tvam, you, Pravisha, you will go well, Viditva, by realization. In other words, he's saying, realize this existence and you will go to existence. Whenever you come across these verbs like go and become and realize and rediscover and all of that, please don't take those verbs literally. What is being shared here, in a subjective science, that which you know, you are. So knowing Brahman is the same as being Brahman. Me knowing chemistry doesn't make me chemistry. Me knowing pharmacology doesn't make me pharmacology. Me knowing how to cook doesn't make me what I'm cooking. But me knowing my nature, I am my nature. This is the only science that is subjective. In our Upanishads, we say, Brahmavit, Brahmeva, Bhavati. The one who knows Brahman alone is Brahman. Guruji had shared with this shloka that any achievement that is permanent, it can be said to be justified to be boastful about it. Any achievement that is permanent, it can be said to be justified to have pride in that. So naturally the question is there any achievement that's permanent? Even just now in Canada, they're already talking about the next election, which is in 2019. In America, even while the election was going on, they were talking about the next election, correct? That padam of presidency, that's only 4 years, 5 years, and on and on and on. So what achievement is permanent? And Guruji followed up this point by saying, can you be boastful about what you dreamt about? You dream about being the master of the universe. You dream about having the most followers on Twitter. You dream about creating this huge social network or even contributing today's World AIDS Day, that you cure HIV and anything related to that. If that happens in a dream, can you wake up and be boastful about that? This is all relative. There is no space, there's no time for garva. And we all know this, yet we all don't know this, isn't it? Everybody here knows this, yet tomorrow when we go about our day-to-day affairs, there will be pride. Pride about the school that your kids go to, or pride about how you look, or pride about how much you serve. There will be garva. And remember, it's like being boastful about a dream. This is all relative. In Vedanta, there's one methodology of learning called Anuman. Anumana means inference. Inference. This morning when I took out the garbage and recycling and compost, in the great city of Niagara Falls, we compost also. And your city will be great if you compost also. Our city gives us bins to do that. So many cities and homes I stay in, people don't even recycle, leave alone compost. And the driveway was wet. So by Anumana, that means what happened at night? It rained. I did not directly perceive that rain. I was sleeping, but the ground is wet, so either it's rain or there's a sprinkler, or Bhagwan did it just so I can give this example in this class right now. But inference. If there is a relative reality, by inference, there has to be a absolute reality. If you're perceiving change, by inference, there has to be a foundation for that change. So in this shloka, Acharya Shankara is saying, don't treat all of this as useless. This is useful if you think about it. If you don't think about it, it certainly is useless. Our projections about what will bring us completion keeps on changing, correct? When I was with Swami Prakashananda, we were talking about how when you're a kid, there's a lot of vegetables that you don't like. I think broccoli is one of the vegetables that many kids don't like. But I feel that as you get older, wiser, you start to like broccoli. How many of you enjoy eating broccoli? If you don't, that means you haven't matured enough to appreciate the taste of broccoli. But see, if you take, this is fundamental, broccoli doesn't taste good. If you take that as this relative experience as absolute, that's aviveka. That is being confused. But if you stay open, that yes, at one point there was broccoli was not good and broccoli is good now. And everything else, your colors change, the weather changes. So much of our projections keeps on changing. $1 million will make me secure. Then when you get $1 million, it has to be 2 million, and on and on and on. Acharya Shankara's sharing is, this is all filled with Maya. This is not your projection of completion on these articles, beings, and circumstances will not complete you. The one who realizes this, Buddha, Vidita, that person becomes free. That person has crossed over that water and is looking at Vittala Bhagwan, and then Atma Nivedanam. That person surrenders their ego, and all that remains was Vittala Bhagwan, is Vittala Bhagwan, will be Vittala Bhagwan.